Hey guys, how's it going? Ghosty Rich here today, and today we're going to be putting in a 2-inch leveling kit into this Chevy Silverado. So, it's a 1500. This one is a 2016. First thing you're going to want to do if you're putting this leveling kit in is well the tires on the ground. Crack these loose. Also, really good idea to quickly go in and put on your parking brake in your vehicle so there's no chance of rollback if there's any sort of incline, or just simply lifting it because you're lifting the vehicle. Always a good safety precaution. So like I said, put them on, give them a quarter turn, break that initial torque, and then from there we'll jack the vehicle up. Now if you don't have a service jack, you could always use your jack that's in your vehicle. I don't suggest it though. It's kind of a death trap. So what you'll do is you'll slowly lift it. I just have this resting there because I was cracking the bolts loose. Then after that, I'm just going to pump the vehicle up and we'll be going up from there. From this point, take those bolts all the way out and then take your tire off and take it there. If you have that one security nut, make sure that you put your security piece on and remove it with your security. Once you're looking at this, if you look up, you will see your 18-inch bolts up here. There's three. There's one farther back there and one farther back here if you look. Don't take them off, loosen them. We're just gonna loosen them. So if we're looking at the front of the rotor, if you go around the side, see that bolt on the ball joint right there, that rusty kind of one right there? Loosen that down. Don't take it all the way off, just loosen it. Once you loosen it down, we're going to be hammering the ball joint out. So as you can see, it's loosened up a little bit. All you're going to do now is once it's loosened, basically I got mine with one thread showing there so that way I still have the full nut. You're just going to bang on the side here with a hammer to try and get it loose. If all else fails, for us, we hammered on it, wouldn't work. We had to use a ball joint separator. It looks like a tuning fork, so something for you to know that you might need as a tool to get this done. If you do this, make sure that you lift the boot first with the fork if you can. Next, if you'd like, you can separate this 1-inch bolt right here. Just brings it down a little bit, makes it a little bit easier for play. And then right here is your sway bar bolt. So you're gonna have to put a wrench on this end and a ratchet on this end, and if you're alone and solo, what you would do is you'd put your wrench on here and lean it up on the strut tower, so that way as you're ratcheting down here, the strut will actually hold the wrench for you. So see how it's leaning up on the strut like that, where the hand is, and then the other hand's down here holding this. Now you're gonna need 2 hands on this because the bolt is really awkward and you don't want to round it out. So it's a 16 on the bottom and a 15 on the top. Once you loosen it, take those 2 pieces out of the way. Once those 2 pieces are out of the way, you're looking at the rotor, go around the edge, there's your steering knuckle. All you're going to do is take a 22-inch wrench now, and we're going to take this bolt out and then take the whole steering rack piece right here right out and put it off to the side. So once you loosen this down, what I did is I loosened it off, I loosened it back on a little bit. You can either use your ball joint separator up here, or if you want to, again, I'm sure I'm gonna get some flack for this, but I don't care. You can hit the bottom right here with a hammer and it'll pop up. Again, you can either use the ball joint separator or knock it here. Leave this on to protect the threads just in case for some reason you miss. So it's now come down to the shock. You'll see these 2 bolts. Crack this one loose, crack this one loose, and then take this all the way off, and then go to this side, take that one all the way off. Once you got the bolts out, you'll see these old retaining clips. Go in from the side with a flat blade and just, yeah, it doesn't come off that easy, but flick them up. In your hardware package, you should have 2 bolts, 4 washers, and 2 nylock nuts. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna have your bolt, put 1 washer on each. Now, the way the instructions want you to do it is go down from the top like so, through the spacer and down here. That can be a little bit harder around the drive shaft. You have 2 options. You can either take off the drive shaft, unbolt it, make sure you have Loctite because you're gonna want to rebolt that drive shaft back in after you're done, because you'd move it out of the way, you do it. The other way of doing this, you go upwards, you tie the nylock on, and then you cut off the extra threads. You'll see it says rough country, that's facing up, and you slide it in like that. Now I'm gonna have to put pressure on this so I can slip it in between, but that is exactly how you're gonna put this in. If you need a little bit more space, put a number 6 Allen key inside the bolt for the ball joint on the top. We're gonna loosen this, and then it's gonna drop down even more so you have more space between your shock. So what we found actually is if you put a jack underneath here and you take this ball joint nut basically completely off. It's up to you how far you want to go, but we were able to actually get the nut in and around the drive shaft by moving it out of the way. What we did is we basically took it right off, lifted the control off out of the knuckle, rolled the jack a little bit, and it brought it over just enough to drop that bolt down here. And now we put it back in because it's very hard. It took 2 of us to maneuver everything. And then you might notice that, oh great, the control arm's all the way up here, and you might line it up and you can't get it down. If you press down on the control arm, it'll actually bring the ball joint down so you can put the bolt on. When you're tightening up that ball joint, remember, put the 6 Allen key in the bottom, so that way it keeps the ball joint from spinning, and then tighten it with the 18 and tighten that up, so that way we can start putting the shock bolts together and everything else. For tightness of this one, I would do it with one hand and then just crank until you basically can't crank it anymore with one hand, and that will be tight enough. When you took it off, I'm sure you could tell like that bolt wasn't really on tight, so don't go cranking on it too much. If it has a lot of tension, it's probably because it's been sitting for a while. Maybe your truck has 100,000 K on it and some rust and stuff got in the threads. The 10 and a 22. Put the 10 right here, put the 22 up here. Tighten with the 22. The 10 will keep it from the ball joint rotating. Now we tighten up the bottom one. This is very easy once again. One hand tight. Next ones we're gonna do are the bottom shock tower ones here, and we're going to tighten those up once again, and that's with the nylocks. So 1 wrench on top, 1 wrench on the bottom. After we do that, just tighten the ones in up there, and then after that it's time to put the tire on. If you want, you can go around and make sure that all your bolts are retorqued or are still there. For torque specs and stuff, I'm sure you can grab some of those from the forums if you're really wanting to grab some. And after this, we're just going to repeat this to the other side. That's all there is to this. So now with that massive 2-inch gap, I'm sure you'll notice you're going to have to jack your car up a little higher, so that way we can fit it up and onto the rim. Tightening them up in a star pattern formation, like I told you guys to do. Kevin, move your head for a second. Look at the gap difference. That is ridiculous. That is, yeah, you can definitely fit a bigger tire in there. Kevin, you're gonna need your tires now. Anyways, yeah, so that's it. That's a quick view on how to do it. Copy this to the other side and look at how much gap you have. It's insane. All right, I hope this video helped you out. Like it if it did, subscribe for more, and thanks again for watching.